Now, before we actually start applying CSS, it's a good idea to be able to create groups. And what we can do is then have some of our elements be nested inside of divs and spans so that we can target them as sections, right? And that will allow us to apply CSS to them overall, as opposed to having to target each and every one of them. So, for example, if you look at here, you can see I created this div, and then it results in this. So this code shows this. But to give a better idea of how exactly this is going to work, it's like this. So if we were to look at this web page, this is currently what it looks like, right? Now this top section, let me zoom just a little bit. This top section, I probably would want to be like one piece, right? Because it's like cone, man, blah, blah, blah. So like these kind of go together as well as this horizontal rule, all right? So I'm going to want to group those together. But let's say just in general, let's say I don't know how to do divs. If I took this thing together, I'm like, I just want this all to be orange. Okay, so I'm just going to apply, don't do this. I'm just showing you. So what I would do is like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do style. And then we're going to do color. And then I'm going to do orange. Okay, like great. And I'm just going to copy and paste that so I don't have to do it every time. And I'm going to put that in each one of these. Let's do it in here too. I've never tried doing it. I don't think that's going to make a difference. So I'll save that. I'll go back to my web page. We'll refresh it. And voila. So that looks fine because I could just, now that was a little bit of an annoyance. But let's say I wanted the background color to be orange and not the text itself. So what we could do is I'm just going to go ahead and do background color instead. Okay. Background color. And background color. Color. Okay, I'm going to save that. Now watch. So notice, because it's treating each one as a separate, this one's not getting any orange, right? And it's treating each one of these as a separate element. It's not going to color it as a whole, right? So it doesn't work as well. When I'm trying to target maybe the content specifically, such as the first example, it will sort of work, but obviously not as well this time. So what I would do instead is I would undo all that. And then what I could do instead is nest these inside of a div, okay? So I'm going to grab that one, Control X. And again, don't worry about this. I'm going to show you this in a little bit. And then tab, tab, tab. Okay. And then what I could do is instead style this background color and make this orange. And we'll save that. And now when I go back here, you see it treats it as one whole section. And if for some reason I want to move this section or have this section aligned to the right or grab this whole thing and put it somewhere else, it's now one piece, right? By grouping it as a div, it treats it as one part, which is just much more preferred. Because otherwise you're just targeting each and every individual thing, and you probably don't want to do that necessarily. So divs and spans allow you to group them. Okay, so you might be curious as to what's a span then if there's a div. So what a div does is it will allow you to group things at a block level. Okay, so when I say block level, what that means is this. When we see an H1, that is a block level. So if I were to type, watch this, if I were to type another H1, okay, and we'll say, something, okay, even though it's on the same line, when I go to refresh this, that something will be on a new line. If it automatically enters a new line, meaning like it's like you hit enter, that's considered a block level. All right. So again, with this example here, so let's say, take that out. Let's say we take just part of cone here, right? Let's say div is block level, which means it automatically starts on a new level. But let's say what we have here, this emphasis, right, and this strong, notice that they are all part of that P, but they don't automatically start on a new level, right? So if you look, oh, not this one, sorry, hang on. If you look, you can see the myth and primitive form, these are called inline, which means they will just go along. They don't automatically start on a new line. So if we were to use a div here instead, just so you get the idea, right? If I replace these with divs and I save it and we refresh it, you're going to see it automatically made it a new line, which means every time you do div to group things, it's going to automatically go to the next line down. All right. Unless it already exists, and then it just kind of follows through with it. So the difference is that when you do a span, that allows you to target an area that'll stay inline. So it'll group things but be inline. So I'll do span. I'll do background color again. Oh, we got to do style. Sorry, style, and we'll do background. Actually, you know what? Let's just do color, so you can color, and I'm just going to do white. Okay, and then I just need to do this. Okay, so now I created the span, and then I can. So the span starts here. It's going to go all the way through, and then I'm just going to end it right here. Okay. Now, this from the myth and the primitive form are now grouped inside of the span. And when we go to view it, you'll see that these now, they all have that white that I'm applying to. So now this is treated like a little group, but it doesn't automatically start on a new line. And that's the difference between a div and a span. They both group elements in essence, but one will keep them inline. It'll just keep it as it's going through regular order. And the other one would automatically start on a new section. Okay, so when you're doing like large blocks of text and I'm grabbing a whole thing, you're gonna want to use divs for those. But if you're only trying to like grab a part of something like this and you don't want to mess with the formatting, you're gonna want to use a span on those. All right. More often than not, use divs a lot more than use spans. Spans are only if you have to get to something very specifically. So anyway, that's what the divs and spans are. And so by using those, you can see I was able to create this here. So I took this top section and I put it inside of a div so that this H1 and P are both treated like this, right? And I just give them the color in orange. And then the second one, I add it all as black, okay? But then I wanted this part here to be orange. So I used the span for that part in order to make that part orange, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. But that's our two ways of grouping things, and that's going to be important just for formatting, and also just structurally it makes things make more sense.